What is up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Going into week 4 now. A lot happened in week 3, so we're going to talk about it dynasty wise, of course. So we're going to just basically go through every game and talk about some of those guys. Kev, what up, Kev? In the building, of course, as usual. What's up, bro? What happened in week 3? How'd your guys' matchups go? What trades you got going on? What's happening? Giants Browns. I mean, Malik Neighbors solidifying himself in the top 10 of dynasty wide receivers. Keep Trade Cut actually has him as wide receiver 4 right now, ahead of Amon-Ra St. Brown, ahead of Jamar Chase, which is high. And not saying he doesn't deserve it yet, but I don't know. That's tough. Can we really put them over those guys yet? Josh, what up, Josh? What's good, bro? Yeah, what are we now doing? Like Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, are they really ahead of Amon-Ra and Chase right now? It just seems like on Keep Trade Cut, there's just too much movement, right? When we're talking dynasty, things should not be changing drastically week to week. Like that feels just more redrafty, right? But when we're playing dynasty, these things should not be changing like week to week. Let's talk A Rich. I'm seeing him moved a lot and have a couple inbox offers to me. You buy, sell, hold A Rich. Now A Rich is a sell. A Rich was a sell kind of all off season just because of how high he was ranked and his value that people had in him. Where it wasn't even about whether he was going to be good or not. Like most people just had that perception, and he was just ranked very highly. So that's the time where you want to move off of an Anthony Richardson and get into somebody else that you can feel more comfortable with, right? So A-Rich kind of has always been a sell. I know right now it might be tough, right? It's not necessarily the window to sell, not coming off a great game. So, I'm okay with holding him. I mean, he has the upside, right? We see what he can do. The problem is really just passing the football. Like that's the issue, right? Do you want to bet on that? Or just use his value right now to tier up and be just more comfortable with somebody else or tear down. So what's the offers that you have for A Rich? Let's talk about what offers you have for him and see if it makes sense to do something. I mean, they've got him at QB 11 on Keep Trade Cut. So now he's behind Burrow, he's behind Caleb. Jaden Daniels moves all the way up to QB 6. I mean, I don't want to go too much behind like where Anthony Richardson is. Like, I mean, there's Justin Herbert, there's Purdy, there's Dak, there's Golf and Baker, and then after that, it's like there's a bunch of question marks. I mean, Tua, I don't know how Tua went all the way to QB 27. I mean, because of a concussion. Like, see, that's just ridiculous. Tua was what, QB like 15 or somewhere in that area, and all of a sudden now with a concussion, he goes all the way to 27. Like, Goku, what do you disagree with, Goku? I agree with you. Okay. He is what he thought he would be, overhyped, not accurate, going to get with that. Going get with the way he runs and takes sets. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You don't have to bet on it, right? All you have to do is just take advantage of the value and get off when the right time comes. The perfect time was this off season coming into the season. That was the perfect time to kind of tear down from him. My Justin Herbert and a second for a. Oh, you want to buy a Rich? See, this is a 10 team. So like 10 team makes me want to take the chance to go for the upside. I'm okay with paying Herbert in a second for a Rich in a 10 team. Very specific to 10 team because you want that upside. 6 point per passing touchdown, start 11. I mean, I'd be okay with it, but can you spend a little more and just get somebody say, can you get a Jaden Daniels, right? Can you get a Lamar Jackson maybe? A Jalen Hurts, right? Can you pay a little bit more to get one of those guys instead of taking the chance on A Rich? This is an offer. Okay, this is an offer sent to you. Oh, my bad. I thought you said you're Justin Herbert, and it's okay. They sent it to you. Okay, you're Justin Herbert in a second for A Rich. Yeah. What do other people feel about A Rich in your league? Also, is someone else? If you buy him, can someone else bite on him? But yeah, like I said, I would try and probably get one of those other quarterbacks instead. They just feel safer. But Daniel Jones getting a little bit of life. I mean, neighbors 12 targets. Wandell Robinson is just very much involved. I've got him on a couple squads. Eight targets, 7 catches for 61 yards. I mean, he's the clear wide receiver 2 on that team, and there's kind of nobody else after that. Him and neighbors are pretty much hogging up all the targets there. And Singletary was a perfect running back to go and buy in the offseason, especially if you were a contender, a cheap running back. You could have got him for probably a third and a piece, at the very most, a second round pick, a late second. Alex, what's up, Alex? Got a young team, but I'm wanting to move Debo. Big need at running back. Who should I look to deal for? Well, like I always say, it's not necessarily who should you look for. You have to find the team that kind of needs Debo or would want Debo. I mean, Debo's not playing right now, so it might not be the right time to try and cash out where nobody's just saying unless there's somebody out there that's like, I want Debo or I'm looking into Debo. You got to find a team that needs him. If people don't like him, doesn't matter who you go after. They're not going to give that guy up if they don't like Debo. So you got to find a team that likes Debo or needs some wide receiver help, right? I'm not sure when Debo is supposed to come back. Let's check him out real quick. He was ruled out. Maybe you go after, maybe hopefully he plays this week, but maybe you go after like the Puka manager, right? Who has Puka? Can you trade Debo to that person and pick up a running back? Somebody that needs points right now. That's going to be your best bet. Instead of targeting a specific running back, you need to target a team that needs Debo, if that makes sense. Danny, thoughts on Mike Gesicki? Gesicki's all right. I mean, the Bengals have never used a tight end a ton, but I mean, they had Eric All out there, and even in goal line situations where All was out there, had a few catches. So, when we're talking dynasty, I mean, Gesicki isn't really worth much, and he doesn't have a ton of upside. But I do like All, and he seems to be acclimated with the offense now. So, Derek, what up, Derek? Albert, what's good, Albert? Frank, what up, Frank? What's cracking? How you feel about Adams? Seems like coach was pissed. You think he gets traded? I don't know if he was necessarily talking about Adams or if he was talking about that cornerback that like was not trying to tackle nobody. Um, but I don't know. I mean, Adams could do what he want. I mean, you think Adams is going to be upset if he gets traded? He don't give a shit. He'd rather go somewhere else. He'd rather go somewhere else. It's possible he gets traded, but I just don't know. I mean, who's got the money? Who's willing to do it? We'll see. We'll see. Josh, my leagues are going all right so far. This week was a good week for me. I won in most of my leagues. I currently have no 0-3 teams out of my 14 like total leagues. So no teams are 0-3. I've got a few 1-2s, a lot of 2-1s, and then I've got 2, 3-0s. That's it. There you go, Alex. How long should you wait before you start tanking a team you thought was a contender, but injuries have destroyed your chances? You don't wait. Once you know, you've got to do it as soon as possible. Because there are going to be other teams out there that are going to start doing the same thing. You've got to be the first one to the punch to start selling your players. So as soon as you know you're not a contender, like you should start selling players. And then, whoever you can't sell, just look for those pockets of time. Look at those other teams that are competing. What running backs, what wide receivers do they have that have gotten injured? Who do they need to buy? Right. When one of their guys gets injured and then all of a sudden they've got an inbox trade for something that they need and they want, especially during the season, like people make stupid decisions during the season. Nobody's really valuing the 2025 draft picks right now. Nobody's really valuing those. So if you can snag some, you want to try and do that. So if you know you're not contending now, you should start doing it now. Start selling your running backs. Start selling anything that you need to sell. Will, what's up, Will? What's good, man? Do we think Jennings will put up numbers again this week? I mean, possibly. I mean, listen, when you have Jennings on your team, right? This is the time to play him when this situation arises, when guys are injured. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense for you to have him on the bench, right? Doesn't make sense for you to have him on the team. Trade him away if you're not going to use him, when those times are right. So now is the time. If you have him, like you should be playing him. And if you can't play him, then trade him, right? If you can't play him, that's fine. That means like your team is good and you don't have really a decision to make. If you're on the fence between this guy or that guy, like give the nod to Jennings. But if you're just definitely not playing him because you just have starters that you have to play every week, then just trade him away. It doesn't make sense for him to just rot on the bench when you could take advantage of a situation. Mhm. But yeah, Malik Neighbors, I think he's kind of solidified himself pretty much now as a top 6-ish wide receiver. Oh, Dolphins offense is just doo doo. I mean, they suck. Without Tua, they suck. I mean, it's built around Tua basically, or Tua's skill set. It's based around timing. It's based around accuracy, right? I mean, Skylar Thompson isn't that. They're not just going to bring someone else in there that's going to be, that's going to be able to do that. So it's tough. I mean, I think, we got to get a little lucky with Cheetah. I mean, Waddle too. I mean, we know how fast they are and how, they can play. Like all it takes is one catch, to be taken to the house. So, but that's the tough part, right? We don't know when Tua's coming back. Is it going to be 4 weeks? Is it going to be 6 weeks? Is it going to be more than that? Like, we just don't know. So, I mean, if you have Cheetah or you have Waddle, you can try and move off, but again, it's not exactly the right time. Maybe you move off a Cheetah if you're not contending just to, get a younger player or get some draft compensation. But, You can't really expect much out of those wide receivers. And again, it's hard to trade when like the value is so down, right? Be patient, right? This is Dynasty. We don't have to trade them right now. You don't have to take, 50 cents on the dollar. Like you can just be patient about it. Wait till Tua comes back and then they have a great game. And then all of a sudden everybody's going to be back in on those guys. Then you can get out again on that point. Well, it's on CMC returning this year. Feels like he's done this year. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he is returning or not. Apparently, he's seen another specialist or something like that. So, we'll see what happens. We'll have to, monitor the situation. But for the most part, right now, it's just all Jordan Mason. I mean, even if CMC does come back, are they just throwing him right in the fire and get back that huge workload, or is Mason just going to still have a big role in the offense? Right? I mean, you want to make it to the playoffs, you want to win the Super Bowl, right? It's not like Mason is not producing, so they need a healthy CMC. So I don't know if they're just going to run him into the ground once he comes back. Like that's the other part. I got AJ Brown for Ayuk and Kyle Pitts. Was that a W? I'm not sure, Edge. Let me know. What is the format there? You got AJ Brown for Ayuk and Kyle Pitts. I mean, yeah, I'll take AJ Brown over those guys, but just what is the format? Just for sake, but yeah, I'll take AJ Brown. And is there, especially if there's not a tight end premium? Waddle sucks right now. Yeah, I mean, you just got to wait for the right time. Don't trade him for peanuts. Maybe a rebuilding team will buy him. Depending on what you can get. You got no tight end, no 12-man PPR, one flex. Yeah, so if I mean, if it's not tight end premium, then yeah, you're good there. Kevin said buying Tua. I'm only buying Tua if I'm a rebuilding team, and I can kind of afford to take the chance on him. Is that manager panicking? So like I'm okay with buying Tua on a rebuilder. Otherwise, like there's no reason to really take the chance. Would you pick up Komet or Conklin? Right now, I have Parkinson. Are they all the same? They are all the same. They're literally all the same. I mean, some weeks one guy's gonna do better than the other. You're never gonna know which week it is. So just pick one, pick your favorite, and just roll from there. Parkinson is good because Puka's out, Cup is out, right? I mean, Conklin had the most targets, if I'm not mistaken, in that game for the Jets. And then Komet had a good day too. So pick your poison. Outer Horizon, what's up, man? How's 3 weeks of fantasy treating you? Lots of spicy stuff going around. Yeah, absolutely. Ton of things that are happening right now. And it never always happens how we think it does. So, but yeah, so far so good for me. I don't have any 0-3 teams. I don't have any teams that are like absolutely horrible, except for one of my dynasty teams, maybe two of those that I'm just rebuilding. So I didn't go in like trying to contend. But other than that, like I'm doing just fine at the moment. Will said I sold pretty high on Ken Walker, traded him and Pearsall for JT and Bucky Irving on Saturday, full PPR. Okay, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. You get JT and you get Bucky Irving, who's kind of pushing Rashard White a little bit. I mean, we knew Rashard White was not good in between the tackles. We've been talking about that for the past 2 years. And I didn't think necessarily Bucky Irving was the answer because he's a smaller back. He was more of a pass catching back, which kind of, White does anyway. But he's showing that he can actually rush the football. So, that's been big for him. And he's showing it. So the way Charbonnet has been playing, I think Walker's going to see a bigger split than before. Plus, he's proven he's injury prone. Yeah, I mean, most running backs are pretty much, but yeah, I can see that. I mean, again, it's just why even take the chance, right? Is it's a running back, just take advantage of the value and go to something else. Play that running back position like week by week. Marshall, what's up, Marshall? You have Kyler Murray as a starter, Jaden Daniels as a backup. I need wide receiver help, and someone offered Drake London straight for Jaden Daniels. What we thinking? Well, first, is this redraft or is this dynasty? And I'm gonna guess this is one quarterback because you're saying Kyler Murray is a starter, Jaden Daniels is the backup. Just to be clear, let me know, Marshall. Solo Red Cup, what up? What's good, man? Quick question: should I run Singletary or Shakir this week? Ooh. I mean, Shakir's been playing well. Who does? Let me see. Week 4. Singletary's got the Cowboys. And then Shakir's got the Ravens. I mean, it's not like the Cowboys defense has been that good, but I'll probably roll with Shakir just because he's a wide receiver. I don't know. I still don't trust the Giants yet, other than neighbors, pretty much. I mean, look, Singletary was awesome, but would you trade Zach Moss for Ayuk or Devonta Smith? Yeah, absolutely. Zach Moss is okay, but that's kind of replaceable. Jamie, what up? Nah, you didn't miss the Roshan talk yet, but yeah, you can see, he can play. I mean, he looks better than Swift. I never liked Swift um coming into this year, right? He played decent on the Eagles, but there was no better situation than what that was. Like now we see what Saquon is doing. But Roshan, I mean, 8 for 30 and then 4 catches on 5 targets. So I mean, I like it. Can you buy low into Roshan Johnson, or is it too late? Are people starting to see what's going on already? I've got him in a few leagues, Roshan. So, any of these backup running backs, that's why I tell you guys just hold on to them. Maybe it doesn't happen the first year, but jump on Johnson trade now before the price goes up. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know if you could get him for a third necessarily, but shoot for a third, maybe a third plus. Worst, I mean, you're paying a second. Eric Henry 1-1 for neighbors. Henry's my flex. Got JT, HN, Najee, and Steele. I'm guessing that is redraft for sure. Henry for neighbors. Henry's his flex. You got HN, JT, Najee, Steele. Yeah, so you've got running backs. Like you're okay moving Henry for neighbors right now. Neighbors is killing it. So yeah, give me the wide receiver. I'll feel more comfortable with that in the flex. It feels like so. Yeah, Cap. Don't wait. I mean, make sure you go. You got him now. Make sure you try and get him now if you're trying to get him. And make him like a throw in the trade. Don't make it like you're just trying to buy Roshan Johnson, right? Try and buy somebody else on that team, and then have Roshan as a guy that's just put in the deal. James, Jamie, someone in my league picked up Bucky, so should I try and trade for him? 16 team PPR IDP keeper. I mean, I don't know. What's your running back situation? I mean, it would be nice to have Bucky, but if someone picked him up, like I'm not necessarily just gonna trade for him. And how many keepers do you get? Like, I wouldn't necessarily just go trade for him. Browns real quick. Amari Cooper, 2 touchdowns, 7 for 86, and he's been getting targets. They just haven't been connecting. So if you're a contender, can you get some stock of Amari Cooper if you just need, someone for the flex or someone for the long run? But I mean, Deshaun Watson's played okay, 2 tutties, no intos. Like, I mean, he was okay, but nobody wants to touch him in Dynasty. So you're kind of just stuck with Deshaun Watson if you have Deshaun Watson already, because nobody's paying a first for him. You're going to have to take pennies on the dollar. So you're kind of just stuck with him, in Dynasty. And he's been moving down rankings. Like, he's just a situation where when are they just going to pull the plug and say, fuck it, we're just going to eat this loss. We're going to eat this money and we're just going to move on. I don't know. Us, what up, Us? Sold high on Dobbins Sunday morning. I got an offer. Debo straight up for him. I value Debo as 2 Dobbins. Yeah, I'll take Debo. And I don't like Debo at all. I have no shares of Debo, but I'll take him over a running back all day. I mean, we've got to have faith in Dobbins to continue for the rest of the season at this pace, which he never has been able to do healthy. So I think that's tough. Can't trust Cooper with how bad Watson's been playing. He still hit 200 yards. I know. That's why he's a cheap buy for a contender, especially if there's like a rebuilding team that has him. But, I'm hoping that Watson can get together. I just don't like the offense that they run. Like, it's not what Deshaun does best. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. But I'll take 12 targets, from Amari Cooper. I'll take the 12 targets. Running backs currently are Gibbs and Moss. Traded away Sharps for a draft pick recently, and we keep 2 players every year. So you only get to keep 2 players. You have Gibbs and Moss. So yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna buy Bucky Irving, who's literally like the same thing as Moss. So no, I'm not gonna buy him. One running back. So it's only one running back. So yeah, I'm definitely not buying him if you only got to start one running back. You don't even need Moss in that sense. Just keep Gibbs and, one other running back on your roster almost, and that's it. One running back, 2 wide receivers, and 1 flex. So, yeah, I mean, first off, you should never be playing Bucky Irving, like, ever in this, or Zach Moss, really, in this particular format with only 1 running back, 2 wide receivers, and 1 flex. That's a start, what, 5 if it's 1 QB? Start 6 with the tight end. Big Bando, what up? What we thinking about Mooney? Mooney's been a huge buy for the past 2 years for us here on the channel. We've been getting Mooney thrown in trades last year when he was just down and out and nobody cared about him. Just make a trade with somebody, throw Mooney in there because we knew he was going to become a free agent. Goes to the Falcons. Now he has a quarterback. Now he's getting the football. I mean, he's an awesome piece to have as a contender to throw in your flex. That's going to give you decent fantasy points. And Kirk Cousins seems to like him. So if you're trying to buy Mooney, you probably got to give up a second round pick at this point. Whoever has Mooney is probably not letting him go for less than a second. So what's the trade value for Josh Allen? Call me crazy, but I'm down to sell Allen and throw AR5 in there and believe in the talent. He won't throw 35 intos. He'll find his rhythm, and Colts win that division. I mean, you're only hoping that Anthony Richardson is Josh Allen. I mean, there's no reason to take the risk on Anthony Richardson if you already have Josh Allen. I mean, there's no reason to do that. You can believe in A Rich, like that's fine, but as far as your fantasy team is concerned, I mean, why take the risk? Unless you're getting like a Amon-Ra St. Brown, a Jamar Chase, or Justin Jefferson on top of that, like, I don't know if that necessarily makes sense to do that. Thank you for your response. Mostly those players will be stashed anyways. No, no, I know they will be stashed, but since you only have to start one running back, like, don't even waste your bench spots on running back. I mean, the bench doesn't really mean much at all necessarily in that kind of format where it's so shallow. Consolidate your bench, make trades, and tier up because, if you could only start three wide receivers, like two wide receivers and a flex, like you need to have the hammers. You got a Gibbs already at running back. So Gibbs and Moss should probably be like maybe your only two running backs that you have. You know, if you got to pick someone up off of waivers, I mean, maybe you carry three if you want, but I don't know how shallow the bench is, but you might as well just consolidate all that bench stuff and try and tier up. Either Mooney and Leggett or Shaheed. Are you asking? Bando, Mooney, and Leggett or Shaheed. If that's what I'm saying. I mean, I'll take Mooney for the points, right? If you're rebuilding, maybe you go with a Leggett and a Shaheed. But if you just want points on your squad, I mean, Shaheed's going to be up or down. Like, you've got to play Shaheed every week. You can't just guess when he's going to catch a bomb or not. Like, that's the tough part about it. Cryptics, what up, Cryptics? 3-0. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. I think Allen can pull Gibbs or Wilson or a stud, but true AR5 ceiling is Josh Allen. I understand the true AR5 ceiling is Josh Allen, but when you don't have to make that bet, why make the bet? Right? Why should you risk everything for you to make that bet if you have already got Josh Allen? So, like, I need something, another, where is it at? I need something way more to feel comfortable, trying to do that. There's just no reason to. Why open yourself up to possible failure or more risk? Like, we take enough risk as it is, right? So why open yourself up to more risk? There's just no reason to do that. Had Sharps and Ford, I flipped them for picks and Brooks. Okay. I need to trade Richard right away. Yeah, I mean, the problem is that he hasn't played great. So, like, that's the tough part. You just wait till he has a good game. Wait till at least he has a good game for you to trade him away. So this way you're just not getting peanuts, right? Once he has a good game, some people might be like, "Oh, okay, Rashard White is back." So wait for the right time. Wait for the right time. Will said thoughts on Jalen Wright. Is he droppable for Roshan? Also, will D-Rob put up another dud? Because I'm thinking of grabbing Tolbert or for him. Yeah, I would just stay away from the Rams in general if you don't have to. I'd rather play Tolbert, who's been pretty good so far. Um, Jalen Wright. I mean, again, we're gonna need injuries to happen, and it's still early in the season. So, like, I like Jalen Wright, but is it worth it to keep him over Roshan right now? I think Roshan is starting to show something, so maybe you want Roshan instead at the moment. But can you keep both of them? Can you drop someone else on your team that you're just not playing or don't need to play? Any thoughts on Drake May? He's just sitting on my bench. Not sure if he's droppable or hold. I just know that O line is dreadful. I mean, if you're talking about redraft, like, there's no reason to roster Drake May. No reason at all. So just, save yourself the roster spot, pick up a backup running back, and let Drake May go if you're talking about, redraft one QB here. Lando said he traded White for Najee and Mooney. Okay, I like that trade. I'm fine doing that. Moving over to Najee and getting a piece on top. Like, I like that. That's good work. That is good work. Let's move over to I mean the Bears. Caleb threw 52 times, 360 yards, which is great. Two touchdowns, but also had the two interceptions, right? Um, and then Romo Dunze, 11 targets, right? Tied for the lead on the team. Cole Kmet, 10 for 97 and a touchdown. DJ Moore, 8 for 78. Problem is, I don't think Caleb is throwing the ball 52 times often. Is he throwing over 50 pass attempts often? That I don't know. Right, but Odunze showing why he was a top pick in the NFL draft, showing why he's valued so high in the dynasty community, and that was big with the 11 targets and the touchdown. So, and Keenan Allen's been hurt. Like we've talked about this kind of all off season where, this older guy in Keenan Allen, can he wind up staying healthy or is Odunze going to have a chance rather sooner than later because of injuries to a guy like Keenan Allen who's just older? Right, it was nice to see that from Komet. If you have Komet, like, is this the time now that you can move off of him at the tight end position now that he has a big game? DJ Moore still a little disappointing. I mean, he had 8 for 78, but we need a touchdown. We can't be getting outplayed by the rookie and also Cole Komet. But Rome Odunze over DJ Moore in Dynasty, right? I mean, I don't know if it's relatively close, and I like DJ Moore, but Rome is good, and he's just gonna grow and grow and keep getting better with Caleb. JT had a big game, right? 23 for 110, two tutties. Still solidifying himself in the top 5 of dynasty running backs. Even with Anthony Richardson on the squad, people were a little skeptical of Jonathan Taylor. But I mean, the worst is really all the wide receiving core of the Colts, right? All that stock is down in Dynasty, right? Michael Pittman, I mean, and again, it's not really the time to get off. Like you can't get much for him, but Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce, I mean, it's hard to rely on these guys in fantasy or have them have much dynasty value when we're relying on a quarterback that's, a 50% completion percentage. Like it's tough. So, like, I'm staying away from all Colts wide receivers, really. If you have Pittman, like, I'll take any first for him probably at this point. If you're rebuilding, can you find somebody that likes him? Can you tear down a little bit? Texans Vikings was a good game. Well, not wasn't really a good game. The Vikings kind of blew them out, but CJ Stroud, 215, one tutty, two intos. Mixon was hurt, so Akers was the guy, 9 for 21 on the ground, didn't do much. Stephon Diggs actually led the team in targets with 12 this game, but everything pretty short, 10 for 94. Nico, 4 for 86, but 10 targets. And then kind of that third fiddle is Tank Dell. Tank Dell is the buy right now. That's the guy that you want to buy. We're playing Dynasty. We're looking towards the future, right? We don't know how much longer Stephon Diggs is going to be there after this year, if he's there at all next year. So right now is a time to buy into Tank Dell while he's not having these big games, while these managers that have Tank Dell are saying, oh shit, Nico Collins really is the wide receiver one. Diggs really still is really good. Tank Dell is actually the wide receiver 3. Like it's coming to fruition now and people are starting to see it. So, can you grab Tank Dell from some managers that are just upset about it? Going back to the last question where you asked who I could drop, I could maybe drop Zamir White instead of Jalen Wright. I mean, it's tough too, but I thought they were really gonna get him more involved last game. Zamir White, he was on our do not draft list, or do not buy list. He was on our sell list actually in Dynasty, um, because he was kind of at his peak. You know, he was kind of at his peak as far as his dynasty value in the offseason, where everybody thought he was going to be this workhorse guy coming into this year. But again, it's one of those things where why bet on it? Why should you take the chance? Why should you take the chance and bet on it? There's no reason to. No reason to. Diaz, what up, Diaz? Will said 22% snap share for Zamir. Gross. Yeah. I mean, he was a big stay away from Zamir White for us. Um, Played well last year, right? In those last few games, but they weren't against good defenses. And even still, he was running back 12 once out of those games while still getting a majority of the work, getting 20 plus carries or 20 plus touches in each of those games. And they're just not good, right? The offense is not good. We knew that coming in also. Aaron Jones, hopefully he can stay healthy. He's been a viable RB so far. And then Jalen Naylor just is around catching touchdowns. But Sam Darnold has been awesome. I mean, 17 of 28, 181 yards only, but 4 tutties. I mean, Sam Darnold is like the perfect QB2 to have right now in Dynasty and Superflex leagues. Going down, for this season. Olave finally kind of got it together, 6 for 86 and a tutty. Derek Carr finally came down to earth. We kind of saw the real Derek Carr that we know. Alvin Kamara kind of came down to earth too, 26 for 87, 3 catches for 40 yards. But Dallas Goddard was the big, I mean, 10 for 170 with AJ Brown down and Devonta Smith getting, knocked out basically during that game. We should have been buying Madison. I know we were out on Zamir, and I guess Madison just didn't have that a great season the year before, and we just we missed it. I guess you know, but they're giving Madison the ball. I mean, Dylan Lobb will probably be involved, hopefully sooner or later here. But yeah, we should have been buying Madison. That is 100% right. Justin Fields. I mean, they're still like not committed really necessarily to Justin Fields, but Najee gets the bulk of the carries here, right? 18 for 70. Pickens 5 for 57, 7 targets. Still just cannot get on the same page with Fields as far as like actually scoring fantasy points. I know he had a couple plays called back last week, but I mean, they didn't count. And if you have Pickens, you're not happy at the moment. Calvin Austin is the one that takes has that big play, but Quentin Johnson, 2 for 44 and a touchdown. I mean, only on 2 targets. McConkey had 6 targets. Keep that in mind. Um, but yeah, JK gets the majority of carries out the backfield. 15 for 44 doesn't do much. I know Herbert's a little hobbled right now, so everybody was pretty much out on Quentin Johnson. Including myself in most of my shares, but I kept like 1 or 2 shares of Quentin Johnson because they didn't really use him right last year. Are they going to finally use him right this year? So far he's playing well, so he's kind of been the wide receiver to have so far. And Lad McConkey, maybe it takes a little bit more time, but he's getting the targets at least. So his AR value lost damn near all has AR5 lost damn near all his value in Dynasty. Now, I mean, he didn't lose all his value. He's still a quarterback, especially in super flex leagues, obviously. Um, he's moved down to QB 11 on keep trade cut for whatever's that worth. I mean, a lot of this changes way too much. We talked about it earlier. It's just changing way too much week by week when dynasty rankings shouldn't necessarily be that way. But at the same time, it's kind of warranted, right? That there's a little bit of concern now for Anthony Richardson, but we kind of knew this all along, right? We knew he wasn't that accurate. We knew that he had to get better at a lot of things in non-superflex. I mean, even still in non-superflex, he's a quarterback that has that upside to be like a top 3 guy or the actual number 1 quarterback if everything kind of falls in line. But I mean, if you're playing in one quarterback, I mean, he's valuable, but do you want to take that chance? Like he's sitting on your bench or somebody's bench right now. So, is it right? IDub, what up, IDub? IDub says it here. Is he on the Justin Fields trajectory, right? It seems like we kind of seen this before, right? Quarterback that can't really pass, that is, relying on the rushing upside. Is it that kind of situation all over again? Or is Anthony Richardson going to be better, right? Don't forget he's kind of still a rookie, right? He didn't really play last year because he got injured. So this is really kind of his rookie season. We can't expect all these guys to come in and be so good. It's very rare that these quarterbacks come in as rookies and they just hit it off, right? We've seen some of the best quarterbacks are, sat behind a couple different guys, right, for a year or a number of years, and right, they've had way more success, right? Anthony Richardson is not sitting behind anybody. He's not is there a mentor there, older quarterback that he can kind of learn behind and understand the system and understand coverages and get help and all that? Like they didn't have that, right? They're just throwing him into the fire. So it's rough. Xavier, what's up, Xavier? 12 team superflex, start 11, 1.5 tight end premium. Give Diojon Yoshivas, gave Diojon and Yoshivas, got 3:26 seconds. Oh, yeah, I'll take that. 3:26 seconds. That's awesome. Quarterback Hurts, Kyler. Nice. And this is a 12 team. Sharp and Brown. That's how I have my running back rooms, just backup running backs as I'm trying to shape up the team how I need to, right? Wide receiver Jettas, Pittman, Devonta Smith, JSN, Reed, Joku, Taysom. Had trouble picking who to flex. There you go. I mean, wasn't great last game, but ESF Flacco, yep. I mean, I know he's there, but I mean like a quarterback that's actually playing ahead of him. You know what I mean? To learn behind, like sitting on the bench, you know? And Flacco don't want to be helping nobody. Gosh, Allen's my starter. What could I even get for AR5? I mean, that's the thing. It's a one quarterback league. So, the quarterbacks aren't as valuable because there's enough to go around. I mean, who does not have a quarterback or who needs a quarterback? What quarterback do they have that's not playing well right now that might want to, an A Rich? So you got to find a team that needs a quarterback and then attack from there. See what they have that maybe you might want. Is it a running back? Is it a wide receiver? Oh yeah, I dub. That's a awesome return. Getting 3 seconds there. Ain't selling that Mason though. Nah, I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna keep that Mason share in that league. I'm gonna keep that Mason share in that league. I should be contending. I mean, I'm 2-1. I'm 2-1, I think. Yeah, I'm 2-1 in that league. We got a nice wide receiver core. with CD, Amon-Ra, Jamar Chase, and JSN. I mean, Andrews kind of fucking bummed me out, but we got Mooney in there too. So I'm gonna just hold Mason in this one, and that's it. Yeah, I'm gonna just hold him here. I got rid of all my other shares of him. I think I got one more share of him. I've got 2 shares that I'm contending in both of those leagues. So he's a rookie, basically. Yeah, I mean, you have to hold him right now, right? That we had talked about this a little bit earlier in the show. But yeah, you're holding Anthony Richardson because it's not the time to sell him, right? He's going to have good games. He's going to have awesome games. And at those times, like if you want to pull the trigger and sell him, like go ahead at that point. But don't do it after like bad games, right? We want to buy guys on the low. We want to sell guys at their high, right? At the peaks. We want to sell high and we want to buy low. Right? There's no reason to take pennies on the dollar for A-Rich right now. Andy Dalton is available in my super flex. My QBs are solid with Burrow, AR5, and Hurts, but I'm getting kind of nervous on AR5. What kind of percentage of fab would you drop on Dalton? I mean, you don't really necessarily need him, so I'm really not dropping. I'm not dropping much unless there's somebody out there that needs him. Can you drop some fab on him and then trade him for a pick maybe? But yeah, if you can grab him and trade him, then I do that. But I don't think I want to spend like much fab on him unless there's somebody desperate enough to give you a pick for him. They were hating on Rice in April when I traded Amari for him straight up. Now they all asking what I want for him. Yeah, I mean, the amount of people that thought like Rice was done was just ridiculous. And people got rid of them for so cheap, and now they're seeing what's going on. Dropped 50% on Dalton last week. I have Bryce though, so paid up. Yeah, like when you're in a situation where you need it, I mean, I guess you got to go pay up, especially if you're trying to contend. But that doesn't seem like that's the case here for Will, unless he's doing it just to block somebody else out. But otherwise, no. But I mean, the Bucky Irving or Rashard White situation is just interesting. I mean, I know we talked about it briefly, but and I didn't think Bucky was gonna push White like that, only because I feel like White's, his skill set was pass catching, Bucky's skill set was pass catching, but Bucky's been able to run through the tackles, and rush the football really well. So I'm not sure what's gonna be happening with Rashard White. I know he was slightly injured. What was it, last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was? Like, does that have something to do with it? Just Godwin, 6 for 53 and a touchdown. Mike Evans, only 3 targets last game. Only 3 targets. Bucky looks better in every way. I know. I know. I mean, I don't know what's going to be happening to Rashard White, but it is concerning, especially for his dynasty value. But he was another one where right after the season, like that's the peak. Like that's where we need to get rid of them. That's when we need to trade them at that peak. And they even said, like, coming into the season or during the off season, even that, they want to get somebody else in there to spell Rashard White. Yeah, he is a lot bigger and faster than I thought too. I mean, they made him seem like he was tiny, with the combine stuff. So he looks good so far, and he's able to run between the tackles. He's having success, so that's going to be the guy that you want there. But again, can we wait for Rashard White to actually have a good game before we get rid of him, or is that just never going to happen? Just cut your losses now. Like, 'cause, nobody's going to want Rashard White really. Who's out there trying to buy Rashard White right now? Should I trade Neighbors for CD? I mean, at this point, like probably not. I mean, he's up there. I mean, shit. I keep Trade Cody's wide receiver 4 right now. CD wide receiver 2. I mean, if it's just straight up, I mean, then it's just you wanting one over the other. I mean, it's a lateral trade, so I don't know why you would, necessarily do that. What's the reason why you want to do that? Or is that even an option? Is that on the table right now? But it is just a lateral type move. So unless I'm getting a plus on one of the other sides, like I probably wouldn't do it. Is Addison playing this week? I don't know. Let me pull him up real quick. We've got some time until the game, but it says optimism regarding week 4 status. Optimistic Addison will be able to play Sunday in Green Bay. So I mean, follow the practices through the week. Does he get some practices in? Does he get a practice in at all? So we'll see. Ask for a plus on top of CD. Yeah, I mean, at this point, yeah, because if we're talking about just pure points, and Naylor's been balling. Yeah, he has been. He has been. That's because Sammy D is rolling right now. But yeah, Bucky was another good one. Kate Otten, like I said before, 8 targets. I mean, 7 for 47. Good game for the tight end there. And then when you're talking about the Broncos, I mean, Javante, I mean, that value has plummeted. We didn't like Javante coming into the season. Is just I said it. Why again? Why make the bet? Like sometimes there's just no reason to bet on some of these guys. There's just no reason why take the chance. Why take the risk when you don't have to? When you don't have to. Bo Nix looked decent though, or good. That's Gibbs. Be a good division game. Yeah. Let's see what else. Ravens, Cowboys. I mean, nothing's really changed as far as dynasty for that. Ravens, Cowboys. I mean, Dolphins, Seahawks. We talked about Waddle. We talked about Tua. We talked about Cheetah. Um, Seahawks. Like this game, Tyler Lockett wound up leading the team in targets with 8, and JSN only had 3, but caught all 3. DK 4 for 104 and a touch. I mean, we see JSN's value is just rising up and rising up. If you were gonna buy him, maybe after this game it was a time to buy him when Tyler Lockett outplays him. So like now could be a decent buy window for JSN. Yeah, I hope Hawk comes back too and starts killing it. Jaden is now QB1. Yeah, I mean, where is he right now? I think I checked it before. Where is he? He's QB6 on Keep Trade Cut. I mean, he's playing awesome. I'll give him that. I mean, they are, playing to his strengths and protecting him well, right? They're running the football. They are doing a ton of short passes, right? Keeping his completion percentage up, keeping his confidence up, taking a shot, and then he took a couple shots when he needed to. This was like the first game I've really kind of seen him take some shots to Terry, and they wound up completing them. So, oh yeah, I could see him definitely. I could see him probably going up to like Yeah, 3-4, where Lamar is, I guess. Allen Mahomes. But yeah. All right, guys. Throw any last second questions you guys got in the chat before we get up out of here. Let me surf through and see if there was anything else really we wanted to touch on. We talked about Jennings. Chiefs, Falcons. I mean, we need to see some more out of Pitts. I felt like they kind of forced like rushes a couple times. I know that like Bijan got stuffed on a fourth down, I think it was. Um, and then like the third and goal, like they ran the football. Like they just got to pass more in certain situations. Like let London go up and get it. Let Pitts go up and get it. That play to Pitts, like Kirk's got to throw that up high. Like he can't. There's no reason to throw that so low. Kyle Pitts is so big. He needs to throw that up. Like let him go and get it. No, I'll take the mid first. I'll take the mid first for sure. I'm not paying a mid first to go and get Keon. No, not doing that. What RB should I target for Devonte Adams? RBs are Cook, Pacheco, Ford, JK. I mean, you've got Cook, you've got Ford, you've got JK. Like you don't really necessarily need to. You got Harris. I mean, what do you mean? You don't need to go out and get any running backs, Jamie. Like you've got guys there. Um, and again, it's not necessarily who you should target. It's who needs Devonte Adams, who needs a wide receiver, who needs wide receiver help. You know, if teams have strong wide receivers, like it doesn't matter, the running backs that they're not going to give up the running back for another wide receiver if they don't need a wide receiver. Right? So you've got to find a team that needs Devonte Adams. Like learn to attack it that way instead of like who can I get or who should I get? Go find the team that needs what you have access of, what you're looking to trade away. There's got to be a team out there that needs it, and then you assess that team and look at that team. What do they have that you want or that you need? I was looking into Kyron or Gibbs or Hall. I'm 3-0, so trading Adams away won't hurt me much. I mean, listen, if you can get one of those guys for Devontae, which I don't know how you could, then like I would be okay for it. Maybe you trade Devontae and JK or Devontae and Ford. I mean, put together a little package for him. Oh, it's an 8-team league. Okay, that's why. I feel you. Yeah, JD5 owners hit the goddamn jackpot. I've got two of my four redraft leagues or two of my home leagues in redraft. I've got Jaden Daniels as my quarterback. Just waited on quarterback, and I'm 3-0 in both of those leagues. So Huss said he'll be live in 20-ish minutes. So go check out Huss. I'll be out of here by then. Um, but yeah, I think Darnell Mooney is pretty much the hottest topic really right now. I mean, we've been buying him for 2 years, guys. For 2 years, we've just been buying Mooney on the low. I mean, I have him in so many leagues. It's finally paying off because you were able to get him just thrown in a trade. It wasn't just Darnell Mooney for this. No, it was I'm trading for this guy, and Darnell Mooney's just going to be thrown in the trade for nothing. But Carson Steele, 17 for 72. I mean, what's Steele worth right now? I kind of feel like he's worth like a second plus. Like we don't know what's happening with Pacheco, so Steele is pretty much going to be the guy there until maybe Kareem Hunt starts getting going. But I don't even know if that's happening. So somebody that needs a running back is going to give you something for Steele. But Rashid Rice, 12 for 110, 14 targets. I mean, Travis Kelsey slowly diminishing little by little. Rashi Rice moved himself up into the top 10 of dynasty wide receivers on Keep Trade Cut. Puka falls down to wide receiver 11. I mean, one of these shows we'll just have a talk about what's going on Keep Trade Cut in the market and everything that's out there because I feel like it's a lot different this year. Like it's a lot more week to week. Like there's just too much that people are changing or feeling about certain things. Would you trade Waddle and Javante for Brian Robinson Jr.? Is this redraft, Mike? Would you trade Jalen Waddle? I'm guessing it's redraft, but would you trade Waddle and Javante Williams for Brian Robinson Jr.? If you have other good wide receivers that you can play, then I'd be okay with it. I mean, Javante like doesn't really count almost. You can afford to give up Waddle, then yeah, I guess I'll take the running back. Redraft. Okay, yeah. Roshan or Wilson, full PPR dynasty. I'm probably just going Roshan. I mean, we've been on the Roshan train for a while. He just hasn't necessarily got the opportunities. They keep bringing in other guys. I mean, but now, I mean, look, he just looks better than Swift out there. Like Swift just does not look good out there. No problem, Mike. Appreciate you. What do you think about Worthy? He's my number 5 wide receiver on your team. I mean, if you're talking about like redraft, he's sitting on your bench. I mean, just use him to tier up with somebody. Put together some kind of package, some kind of 2 for 1, 3 for 1 type deal where you can maybe get some kind of stud. I mean, he's just you just never know when he's going to have that game. Is he going to catch a bomb or not? I don't think he's involved like enough yet for you to just play him. Like, what's your other options? I mean, if you're never going to play him, just wind up moving him. Yeah, I'll take Roshan over Zamir. Favorite buy low receivers in redraft. Let's see. Let's go through these games real quick. Buy low receivers. I mean, D Hop was interesting if you need somebody for cheap, but I mean, Jordan Addison is hurt, right? Those are always good buy lows when guys are injured. If you believe in George Pickens, I mean, he hasn't necessarily exploded yet, but he could be a decent buy low if you're looking to buy somebody low. Can you buy Cheetah on the cheap? Can you buy Waddle on the cheap, right? Guys that if you can afford to wait a few weeks to wait to see what happens and you just want to, take the chance and reap the benefits when Tua comes back, if he comes back. I think Tolbert's played well for the Cowboys so far. Can you go out and buy Puka, right? I mean, he'll be back sooner or later. Puka's hurt right now. Does that manager need some points? Can you afford to give him some points and wait on Puka? You could say the same with Debo as well. And that is, I mean, I guess just about it. I mean, maybe Christian Kirk, but that offense is just horrible. I would say Terry McLaurin, but after that game last night, probably not going to be cheap right now. Jamar Chase was on that list, but after last night, probably not happening now. Yeah. All right, guys, let me get up out of here. I'll give y'all another 60 seconds or so. Throw any last questions you guys got in the chat. And we'll be back on Saturday night. We'll be doing just our regular Q&A, start, sit, dynasty, redraft. Any questions you have, we're answering everything. Right, guys. I will see y'all Saturday. Peace.